I've noticed that my students tend to have one of two reactions, typically, to their PSAT score report. First tends to look something like, that's not going to work. The second tends to look something like, ooh, I don't know. Is a 1440 any good? Actual reactions should be a lot more nuanced than that. After all, you spent over 3 hours taking the PSAT, so that time's kind of invested. Maybe you should spend a little more time trying to understand exactly how you got the PSAT scores that you did, rather than just focusing on what those scores were. Understanding what your scores really mean also kind of depends a little bit on where you are in the process. If you're a student who hasn't really started taking the SAT or the ACT yet, these PSAT scores can be really helpful in terms of trying to make that decision. If the PSAT scores were great and you were pleasantly surprised, well then maybe think about taking the SAT. On the other hand, if those PSAT scores were not exactly what you dreamed of, you do have another option. Maybe it's time for you to explore the ACT. In contrast, you might already be neck deep into SAT or ACT prep, and you might have even taken an SAT or ACT once already. So how can these PSAT scores help you? Well, I would argue that the PSAT is different from all of the other standardized tests because you get all the feedback. You get a detailed score report, you get a question-by-question analysis, and you actually get the copy of the test you took. That's wonderful feedback to help you understand exactly how you performed in the stress of a real exam. Spend some time with that last page of the PSAT score report. You know, the one that lists what happened for every single question. Take some time to try to understand not just what you got wrong, but how you got it wrong. Was it a question of content? Did you not understand what you were supposed to do? Was it a question of strategy? Did you kind of understand the big picture of the question, but were you unable to successfully apply what you knew? Or did you, when you look back on the question, are you just totally shocked that you got it wrong? How did I get this wrong? In many cases, what you're looking at there is the manifestation of stress or anxiety. So really, in order to understand our PSAT score report, we need to take a little time to understand ourselves. I'll also encourage you, don't just look at those ones you got wrong, take a look at all of the questions you got right and pat yourself on the back for doing a great job on the PSAT.